Thank you. I think getting energy from renewable sources is one of the things that we are just going to absolutely have to do in this country, and we're going to have to put a lot of energy and other resources, money, whatever, behind it. I was reading when we were, I hate to digress like this, but I had an interesting thing. You're talking about renewable sources in Florida for energy, and I didn't know, but like we can get energy from corn, we can do it from sugarcane, which is a big thing in Florida. And do any of you know what that's called when you get it, the stuff from the sugarcane?
They're getting ethanol.
No, it wasn't ethanol. It had another name, start with a B. That's okay. That's okay. Thank you. Well, we're not rid of big sugar, so we are going to have to try to find a way to use their sugar cane for energy. Okay, the next question goes to Mr. Neild. Oh, we keep making references to the questions that they're going to ask. The federal government is currently bailing out large institutions, maybe. Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, the insurance AIG. In your opinion, will this inject our economy or cause even greater economic problems in the future? Mr. Neild.
I fear that we got a long road ahead of us. The American people, once again, deserve and demand a safe banking system, but I don't see any way we can do it anymore without us helping to solve this problem. But if we're going to help solve the problem, we ought to be entitled to some of the profits that are accumulated by those industries that we help. Now here's the really bad problem. I'm afraid that in Congress they're going to carve out the bad loans and set them off over here on the shoulders of the taxpayers, and then turn the banks and brokerage houses loose again to do the same thing they did before. We have to re-regulate them. The other problem is, for you city council folks that are here and county commissioners, if they cut those bad loans out and put it into a governmental agency, and that governmental agency now is exempt from real estate taxes, oh my gosh, now the city budget and the county budget, there's going to be less revenues coming in, which means we're going to have further source of trials here in Lee County. We got to be careful when we do this.
Thank you. You know, the bailout situation is so complex that I don't think any of us can really speak intelligently about it. I'm convinced that there has to be a shoring up of the banking industry so that citizens are not losing money that they have in their money market accounts and losing money in their banking accounts. I also believe the bailout, for example, for AIG makes a tremendous amount of sense because of the tentacles that that corporation has throughout this country and throughout the world. But I don't believe it makes sense to bail out Bear Stearns or Lehman Brothers or some of these other big investment firms that simply scooped up as much profit as they could at everybody else's expense. I also believe that if we're going to shore up Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and AIG, that we have to put some manners on these corporations. We have to control their board of directors. We have to control the compensation of their chief executive officers that are now making tens or hundreds of millions of dollars a year. We have to simply stop that. We have to be smarter about how we invest taxpayers' money into these different corporations. And if we do that, in the long run, I think two things will happen. We will shore up the economy, and we'll also have the possibility of making money on those investments, just like we did when the federal government got involved with Chrysler many years ago.
Thank you.
You know, an interesting term that I hear thrown around more and more lately is the term corporate socialism. And I think what we're seeing, particularly with this bailout that they're talking about now, is essentially a situation where we seem to be turning into a new paradigm here in America where it's socialism for the wealthy and for the too big to fail, and it's capitalism for the rest of us. It's do or die in the marketplace. And first and foremost, this mentality has to change. We have to look realistically at who is going to be paying for this bailout, who is going to receive this money. We need to make sure that we as taxpayers get some kind of equity. Right now they're talking about buying up all these bad loans. The problem is nobody in the private sector knows how much these loans are worth. Nobody knows how to value them. How do we know that we're not buying a bunch of worthless loans? The other thing that I want to point out is I have this. I brought this with me. I put this together real quick. This is a breakdown of who owns the who owns the stock in this country, who's paying taxes, and what income levels are. I urge you to take a look at it on your way out. Thank you.
Thank you. And our last question goes to Mr. Saunders, who made reference to this earlier when he was asked about his piece of legislation he was most proud of. So here we go. So much of Florida's value is invested in our natural resources. How will you ensure funding through the Water Resources Development Act for Everglades restoration?
You know, the federal process of appropriating money is very interesting. The WRDA bill that was passed by Congress this year is simply an authorization. It doesn't mean one penny has come to Florida. Congress now has to appropriate money pursuant to that, and they're simply not doing that. I will tell you, in the Everglades restoration legislation that we did, the state of Florida has spent about $3 billion on Everglades restoration. Our 50% partner, our equal partner, the federal government, has spent less than $400 million, about 12 or 13%. If we can simply get the federal government to pony up to what they are legally, morally, and ethically obligated to pay, we would have absolutely no problem funding the rest of Everglades restoration, cleaning up Lake Okeechobee, cleaning up the Caloosahatchee River, and the rest of the environment in South Florida. So one of the things I will do as your next congressman is make sure that our federal partners honor their commitments and provide the funding that they've guaranteed us for the Everglades restoration project.
Mr. George?
Yeah, there's no question that a lot of commitments have been made by the federal government, and frankly, they haven't ponied up to it. What we have to make sure that happens is not only that we have leadership in Washington that is committed to Everglades restoration, but also that the money is actually there. We need to make sure that we have some real fiscal accountability going on in Washington, because at the rate we're going, over the next 2 years, I hope the economy is going to get better, but I think we need to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Secondly, there's a real requirement also that we have leadership in Washington that actually respects the environment and that isn't going to put industry dollars before environmental safety and environmental standards. And I think this is a real problem that we have right now in Washington, is that the people who are most detrimental to the environment, in many cases, particularly here in Florida, are the ones who spend the most money financing campaigns. And first and foremost, this is what we have to change in Washington. Thank you.
A lot of our pollution in the Everglades and in the Caloosahatchee and the estuaries at its mouth is a result of the straightening of the Kissimmee River many, many years ago that drained the entire central Florida basin. And we here in Florida benefited from that. We got a good cattle industry, we got a good citrus industry, we got a good tourism industry. That doesn't change the fact that the U.S. government, Army Corps of Engineers, is the one that straightened that river and made it a ditch. So I will vote in Congress to fully fund all the restoration projects, to put the oxbows back in the Kissimmee River, to make sure that things are restored. We didn't know any better when we straightened it. We thought it was a good thing. Now we're finding out what it costs not to do that. So as your next congressman, you can count on me to support cleaning up the water and supporting the idea of good environment.
We thank you for very complete and full answers to those questions, and for staying on the time and being nice to our timer too. We have a 1-minute close for you gentlemen, in which you may say anything that is not lewd or lascivious, and we will begin with Jeff George on this issue.
Once again, thank you so much for having us here, and I want to thank you for turning out. It shows the commitment that we see here in Southwest Florida, that we, the three of us, have shown up these forums again and again and again, and the turnout is always fantastic. As I said in the answer to my last question, you know, the bottom line is we have to change the way that business is done in Washington. We have to go after how campaigns are financed, because the root of all of our problems in Washington has to do with the fact that the people there aren't representing the needs of the people. And the reason that that's happening is because you, the people, don't have enough say in how elections are run. And so I hope that what we're seeing here is the start of a real change, not only for Southwest Florida, but for all of America. And again, I want to point you to our website, which is jeffgeorgeforcongress.com. Everything that I say and do on the campaign trail is being recorded, and all of that footage is there for you to take a look at. And I want to make sure that whoever you vote for, make sure that they have the transparency, integrity, and accountability to represent you in Washington. Thank you.
Mr. Neal.
I'm not a mental health professional, but I think that the classic definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. Folks, we can't send the same people back to Washington to represent us. We'll get the same result. If you send Congressman Mack back, nothing's going to change. And by extension, if you send Senator Saunders to Washington to represent you, remember he's a Republican too. Nothing will change. Please vote for me, the Democrat. Give me a chance to represent you in Washington. Now, if you can't, if you just can't vote for a Democrat, then kindly do me one favor, just one favor. If you can't vote for a Democrat, gentlemen, vote for Congressman Mack. Ladies, vote for Senator Saunders. Thank you very much.
Mr. Saunders.
Again, thank you for being here this evening. I will tell you, Congress has an approval rating of 9%. And the reason they have such a low approval rating is because of folks like Wexler, who is supposed to be in Palm Beach and he lives out in Missouri. People like Connie Mack, who's supposed to represent you here, lives in Southern California. One of the things I commit to you is that when I'm elected to the United States Congress, I will work with independents, I will work with Democrats to solve problems such as health care, energy independence, immigration reform. You go down the list, every problem that we're facing in this country just never gets solved. It's because of the gridlock in Congress. It's because of the partisan bickering. You deserve a representative who will roll up his sleeves, or her sleeves if there happen to be a woman running for this, and work to solve problems once the elections are over. And that's my commitment to all of you. I've been doing this for 10 years here in Cape Coral. I think all of you that have interacted with my office know that we are responsive and that we will answer your questions and we will try to solve the problems facing this country. Thank you very much.
Have a big round of applause for all three of these gentlemen. We hope you'll be able to stay until after the rest of the forum is finished so you can talk to our constituents and enjoy some of the fine goodies that everyone brought and have a cup of coffee with us. Remember to pick up their literature. They all have literature here. Okay, we're going to move on to welcoming the candidates for Lee Memorial Health System Board. And I'd like all of them to come forward. Up here, I think they're arranged by districts and in districts and alphabetical within the district. You will also be given some strange-looking magic marker, and at the end of your forum, we'll tell you what that's for. While they're getting settled up here, I will mention that the Lee Memorial Health System Board is a 10-member board. The members are elected for 4-year terms. There are 5 districts, and you elect 2 from each district. There was there will be a vacancy that will occur when Jason Yost, the young fellow, leaves in January of '09. That was already filled by Dawson McDaniel of Fort Myers. He was the only applicant for the position, so he was automatically placed in the position and won't have to appear on the ballot. We have So nobody's here for 5. Well, unfortunately, we have 3 people who responded that they would be here. They were all from District 5. One of those had already responded that he would not be here. That would be Robert Freiberger. He had said he could not attend tonight. Carrie Babb, who is an incumbent, was expected to be here and has not shown. James Green, who is an incumbent, was expected to be here and has not shown. And Vilmar Ribeiro, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, was also supposed to be here and has not shown. So I guess we're going to have District 1 and District 3 conversation. For District 1, we have Dr. Stephen Brown. Thank you. Anna Clark, and incumbent Marilyn Stout. For District 3, we have an incumbent Lois Barrett who was unable to attend tonight and sent her regrets. We have Linda Brown, incumbent, and Jason Moon, challenger. We want to welcome you. We're going to give each of you a 1-minute introduction. Actually, because we have fewer people here, I think maybe we will go to a 2-minute introduction. You will not have a close. Or maybe I could give you a choice. You want a 1-minute intro, a 1-minute close? Oh yeah, they like to close, Okay, we're going to have a 1-minute intro. We will then have a 1-minute close after the questions. Please pay attention to the timer. She will let you know when you're almost out of time, and she will hold up the flag when you are out of time. Okay, let's start right up on this end with Dr. Brown.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to be here. I dined in Cape Coral tonight. I stopped early and had a hot dog across the way. And you guys have the best hot dogs I've ever seen. So if you ever want a good hot dog, right over there. My wife always says that I've never met a microphone I didn't like, so this I feel right at home right now. I've been married to my wife for 43 years. We have 3 children. My daughter's deceased, and my wife and I, in her honor and memory, built the Inpatient Children's Cancer Center at Lee Memorial Health Park, and we're very, very proud of that. The main reason that I want to run is I want to put patient care first. And that sounds sort of corny, you know, of course everybody wants to put patient care first. But I went to the Mayo Clinic, and I graduated from the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. And they just sent out their journal, and the #1 issue that they're dealing with is put patient care first. And so I want to be able to do that. I think I have the expertise to do that. I'm the only doctor running for the board, and I don't see how you can have a hospital board without having a doctor. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Clark?
I guess it's on? Yes. My name is Anna Clark. I'm originally from New Jersey. I'm married 17 years to Thomas Clark. He's on the Soil and Water Board. In New Jersey, I was a secretary, a bookkeeper for a small company doing payroll and taxes. And the reason I am running is because I believe we need an open heart surgery unit in Cape Coral. I'm concerned about that. I recently had a relative that was shipped over to Southwest Regional in the middle of the night. Her caretaker could not find Southwest Regional, and it was very upsetting, and it just takes too long. So I'm here because of that, and that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Stout?
Yes, I've lived in Cape Coral for 26 years. My husband Tony is home with a cold tonight, but we've been married 38 years. He retired with 27 years in the Army, 15 in Special Forces. I have a daughter that's a principal at Challenger Middle School here in the Cape. My 3 grandchildren were born and raised, and my granddaughter is going to University of Central Florida now. My twin grandsons are freshmen at Cape Coral High School. My heart is in this community, and I've served on this hospital board for 8 years. The learning curve is steep, and we had huge issues. I would like to address open heart. I know I don't have enough time right now, but perhaps I will before this forum is finished. I want to also tell you that I've been the treasurer and the secretary for the board, and I'm the liaison to the Cape Coral Medical Executive Committee. I work with the doctors. I'm also the liaison to the Cape Coral Auxiliary. Please ask them about me.
References, always a good thing, references. Okay, next we will hear from Linda Brown.
Hi, thank you so much for having us all here. My name is Linda Brown. I have lived in Florida for 33 years, and the last 17 have been right here in this area. I live in Fort Myers. My husband Bob is right over there, and we have 4 grown children. I've served on the Lee Memorial Board for the last 8 years. 4 years have been spent as chairman of the board, 1 year as vice chairman. And I'm a nurse practitioner. I've been in the healthcare business for more than 30 years. My area is health policy and healthcare. I currently practice as a nurse practitioner. I practice with Hope Hospice, sometimes right here at Cape Coral in the hospice house at Cape Coral, sometimes at the other houses. I am very happy to answer any questions you have. My concern is that we maintain quality patient care and that we stay financially solvent and that we be able to afford our health care in this community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and last on the end there we have Jason Moon. Mr. Moon?
Hi, I'm Jason Moon. I was born at Lee Memorial. If no one else here can say that. Grew up in Fort Myers, went away to college, got my law degree. I'm back here in Fort Myers, a member of the Florida Bar. I work for 21st Century Oncology, which is a local radiation therapy company here in town. Provides radiation for cancer patients. I was the operations manager, and now I'm the corporate administrative director. So I have both operations experience and legal experience and business experience. I think the experience I have and the education I have is a unique combination to help this health system. There are some issues that the health system is going through right now. I believe that I'm ready to take on those issues and help the health system grow and maintain its high quality of care. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Can I just say that we do elect 2 people from each district, and everyone has the opportunity to vote for 2 people in each district.
I announced that at the beginning.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that when you did that. And
that's okay. It's very important for people to know that they vote for 2.
People do vote in every district too. So you have the opportunity to vote for almost all of us.
Right, you can set up this whole board, but because District 5 people aren't here, you won't know who to vote for. Okay, we're going to start with some real easy questions for you. At least it looks easy, I don't know, but I have answers. For the District 1 candidates, and I think we'll start with Marilyn Stout this time, can you tell us the duties of this board?
We oversee. The board sets policy. We oversee what happens within the health system. We have 7 hospitals in 5 locations. We have over 9,000 employees. And the only 2 employees that we hire, that we control, are the CEO, Jim Nathan, and our administrative assistant, Kathy Stevens. But in actuality, we set the budget, we call the shots.
Being new at this, I don't really know all the duties of the board. I'm, of course, willing to learn. I know they put out an agenda 2 days before each meeting, and you have those 2 days to look up and check up on what's going on next and find out what's going on. I do believe that those 2 days should be extended.
Oh, okay. All right, I was trying to figure out why you were mentioning the 2 days, if you thought that was long enough or not long enough.
Not long enough. I believe that should be longer so that you have more time to do more research and you really know what's going on.
Okay, thank you. And the doctor? The doctor?
Don't start yet. Okay, well, Marilyn just told you what the duties of the board are, and as a matter of fact, you can go on the website for the hospital system and see what they are. They have rules and bylaws like everyone else. But I wanted to talk briefly about how important it is to have a strong board. It's like a stool. One leg of the stool is administration of the hospital. The other leg of the stool is the medical staff. The third leg of the stool is the board. If any of those legs are out of whack, then the patient falls off the stool. And getting back to what I said earlier, we have to concentrate on putting the patient first. What I'd like to see is a strong board and a strong medical staff. We know we have a strong administration, but we need to have both the medical staff and a board that can speak up and make the wishes of the people known. Your wishes are going to be best made through your board and the people that you elect.
Thank you. The Lee Memorial Health System webpage states, the duties of the board include setting goals and objectives for the system, hiring a system president to implement the goals that they set, and monitoring the work of the administration.